Hi, this is Tikiana here. Um, okay, update on the quitting smoking. I did wear a step 3 patch until about lunchtime, and I bought cigarettes this morning. Um, but I'm not giving up. This is what you call a setback. When you have an addiction. And I know I said no excuses. It's not an excuse. You got to understand a problem to solve it as well. When you have an addiction, um, sometimes you could jump right into saying, oh, I'm going to quit this right now, but it's not time for you to do it, okay? And it is time for me to prepare to do it, but it isn't time for me to do it. What it is time for is for me to start telling my story. And I think for me, that's part of the detox process. So I guess to keep this short as I can, so the videos are not too long, this may end up being in several parts. But now I'm going to tell you the story. I'm going to do some things that someone like me normally wouldn't do, and I'm going to show you some of my sacred objects. Okay, and I guess we'll start with me discovering that I was collecting sacred objects, or that I had them. So the first object that led me to that. Meanwhile, I've got to pull out a bunch of shit. I've got myself a little bag. Okay, this is a doozy of a story, this one. Okay, so I'll start more or less at the beginning. I don't know if you guessed yet, but Tikiana is not my birth name. I won't tell you my birth name. It's irrelevant. The point is, well, it's not completely irrelevant actually, but for this purpose it is. As far as I know, things are always being revealed. Okay, so um, I'm not actually from Adelaide originally. This particular incarnation was born in Sydney, raised in Sydney, and lived in Sydney until about March last year, so March 2015. What had happened is that I'd been called, okay? Like, you know when you get that pull that says, I've got to do this, I've got to do this. Well, I'd been called to the sit-in that had been called by the Freedom Summit from Alice Springs the year before, to go to Canberra. And I did as a representative of a group I founded called AussiesForFirstNations.org. Now, I didn't found that website. I found a non-First Nations Aussie supporting First Nations Aussies, which led to that website. And that group has approximately 5,000 members. I think it's decreased a little bit because people have actually moved on. Oh, we're educated now, let's do something. So that's my take on the subject. Certainly why I'm not so involved in the group anymore. Anyway, so an incident happened in February, and I was quite traumatized. I was sent back to Sydney, and I'd had a rocky relationship with somebody for about 6 years, and it came to an end. Just a couple of weeks after I'd returned, crying, bawling my eyes out, and vomiting. So I was not impressed by that. But what actually happened was the most amazing thing ever. So it's now been about, I don't know, 20 odd months of adventure. But it begins before that. Now, when I became aware of this, spirituality came into it was actually when I first went to the embassy and Nankri put their spirit in my hand, healed me, or began my healing journey. Anyway, so through the embassy and the series of prophecies I've had for about, 13 years or so, I wound up on this road trip, supposedly to go to Perth or Alice Springs. Was due to arrive there last year. It didn't work out. I wound up staying up with some friends, and now I live in Adelaide, and here I am. But the first place we stopped on the way to Adelaide was a place called Bordertown. And me and my friend, we went to this antique sort of collectibles thing where you can find like really rusty old bicycles, and they sell sheep's wool and that sort of thing. And in here was this camera. So it's nearly 4 minutes, so I'll just tell you about the camera first. Okay, this camera is the exact same camera, down to the rust, the noise it makes, how it looks when I look through it, that I put in a Vinnie's recycling bin in about 1992 or 1993, outside of the St Andrew's Parish Catholic Church in Marion, New South Wales. So I was a child. This was my family's camera at the time. They'd upgraded it. My mother had sent me and my sister up the street to put some things in the Vinnie's bin. for charity, and this was one of them. And I just did not want to part with it. I looked at it. I looked at it. Look at the little missing thing there. I looked at all the little bit of rust spots, everything, and as though it had just popped out of nowhere from inside that goodies bin, jumped, say, we're talking 22 years in the future, dumped 22 years in the future to Adelaide, not Adelaide, Bordertown, into this antique shop, and happened to just be there as I was walking out the door. And I grabbed it, and I looked at it, and I went, you've got to be kidding me. You've got to be, no! It can't be the same one, right? You think, oh, it's a manufactured object. There's going to be heaps of them. Well, every little fucking detail. Now, you think that's weird? That's just the beginning. End of part 1. I'll explain later.